Hi everyone, welcome to HR Week 6 group presentation. This week we'll be going over recruitment, which is chapter 5. We're going to be looking at a Maple Leaf Shoes Limited case study that shows the challenges that companies face in regard to recruitment. We've included the case study in case you'd like to pause the video and read it over if you want to be more well informed going into the presentation. We've also included a job posting that is referenced in the case study to provide further information. So now we'll give you guys an overview of the case. So right now, Maple Leaf Shoes is being warned that they're going to need to switch over to an automated plant. Now, Maple Leaf Shoes is against this because automated work would drastically reduce the number of employees during a time where unemployment rates in Canada were at an all-time high. Also, companies such as General Motors, Chrysler, and Nortel have gone through this automated plant change, and they are companies on the decline. So, two things that would make Maple Leaf not want to do this are that they lose all their employees, and even if they did it, they weren't guaranteed that the company would be doing better. They're actually more swaying towards them doing worse. Also, competition overseas, like in India, China, Korea, and Indonesia, have become a great problem for Maple Leaf Shoes because they're able to produce quality shoes that can compete with them at a way lower cost because they're getting lower labor rates for creating these shoes. So they're creating quality shoes for much less of a cost, which makes them able to charge less. And now two major retailers for Maple Leaf Shoes have shut down because customers have been saying their prices are too high. So now Maple Leaf Shoes is faced with high pressure to go over to a different type of plant, signs that the different type of plant don't do better, and now the competition are getting their shoes for the same quality at less of a cost. So right now Maple Leaf Shoes are in a very tight situation, and their main concerns right now are how they can make the company continue to expand rather than decline. So aside from the external problems that the company has been going through, now they're faced with an internal problem, specifically within the Human Rights Department. Two females that had been denied promotion had gone forward and complained to the Human Rights Commission. They argued that the promotional criteria for supervisory roles worked against women. This claim brought to light the amount of women in low-paid jobs and lack of job specifications for supervisors. Now, these cases were not deemed strong enough to proceed any further. However, the HRC required that the company creates a plan within 12 months to rectify the issue. Now, at this time, the human resources manager had resigned, and everything was being dealt with by the general manager, Robert Clark. So basically, not only is the company being pressured from all these external factors, and they're worried about declining and closing down, now they need to worry about rectifying a big issue within the HR department while there's no HR manager. So we're going to see how this general manager, Robert Clark, was able to recruit and find someone to take over this HR role so they could rectify this problem of women not having the opportunity to be promoted and too many women working in these low paid jobs. So now that Robert Clark was faced with this dilemma, he needed to hire a friend that could fulfill this role that was needed in HR. So Robert Clark was lucky in a sense where he had a childhood friend named Joy Fleming, who, with her past experiences, was seemed to be perfect for the role. She could bring a high level of energy and use her experience to help propel the department and hopefully the company forward. Once Clark gave Joy a call, she decided to work for the company and was hired. Once she was hired, Clark realized they wanted another person in the HR role. So Joy asked Clark the question, what type of person do you want in this role? Clark wanted a tough individual, someone who would stand up to the union and take charge. So Clark wanted someone who wouldn't be pushed over if they were told, yes, you need to change your plan to automated, you need to fire employees. He needed someone that would fight for the benefit of the company and for the employees within the company while making everything fair for women, men, and minorities throughout. Now, Clark disliked handling employee-related matters and preferred if someone could consult him on major decisions, yet they were able to make decisions on their own. Also, Clark had no documentation with the job description because he did not value such a document. Now, I don't believe that you should not value such a document because it's very important to have a job description because if they had a good one, they could have posted it out on newspaper, online ads, and they could have had many applications and many potential people to fill these roles. Robert Clark was lucky that he had a childhood friend he could contact to come and work, and he was lucky that Joy Fleming did accept the position. However, now they need to start from fresh with a new job description and post these ads to try recruiting the best possible people for the job. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about recruitment. So when you're recruiting someone, you want to attract the right capable individuals for employment, and you can accept and hire them after a few interviews and you're sure that they are right for the role. Looking at the way Clark works, he is not a fan of employee related issues in the first place, and he neglects the importance of wordings in documents that can be helpful to attract candidates. Furthermore, according to his description of the potential candidate, he or she would have a contradictory personality because he wants someone to consult him with major problems, but also wants someone to deal with problems on their own. So that might raise confusion in a sense where should I consult you and ask for your help, or should I leave you alone and deal with it myself since you've stated that you don't like dealing with these problems? So, in that way, right now, I think the job is not really attractable because there's no job description for me to read, and you kind of make things a little confusing with how you want things to be run. So, again, I would say that Clark was lucky that he had the childhood friend to hire, but now is when Joy Fleming needs to come in and help find a way to get attractive people to the company and make the company attractive to these people. Now, a consistent recruitment advertisement is a must and has to make sure it's desirable for potential candidates to apply and take offers when they're qualified. So, pretty much, it's like we've said when you're recruiting someone, if you don't make the job attractive or even available to see, you're not going to get anyone. And you don't just want to get anyone, you want to get the right person. So not only producing a job application, but one that is looking for the right people and one that the right people want to have is what is required to find what you're looking for. So, when talking about the job posting that was seen earlier in the presentation, we can come to one conclusion. It was a very, very poorly written job posting. Now, the first thing that we noticed was that the posting was dishonest by saying it's an expanding company. This is a company that just had two major retailers close down and are facing a large loss in employment due to autonomy. So, when hiring someone, I doubt you'd want to say you're expanding when in reality it seems like you're declining. When someone gets hired to this job thinking they can have a long future here and then realize, okay, I was deceived and lied to, I don't think that's a company that they would want to work for. Also, there's no specifics on what the job will entail. The posting simply says overseeing all human resource functions for this large expanding corporation. A well done job posting will give candidates a good idea of what their roles, responsibilities, and day to day routine would look like. This is more of a generalized statement that would just say, yes, come. You'll have a lot of functions in relating to HR. And by the way, we're an expanding corporation, which again is a lie. Also, at the end of the posting, there's a section that says there are welcoming applications from women and minorities, which, although they have good intentions, that doesn't seem too right on an application. Why would a company have to specify that they accept it from women and minorities? Were they not accepting it from women and minorities before? Did women and minorities have problems internally in the company? So this makes a lot of questions arise for a potential candidate. That's not something you want to see. It should be a given that they're welcoming applications from women and minorities. It shouldn't be stated. So in the revised job description, we decided to take out the fact that it's been saying they're an expanding company. We kept that it has 650 employees. It's a prestigious company. It has been around for a while. We decided to add more roles about what you'd be doing. So you'd be hiring employees, you'd be dealing with HR affairs, expanding and helping with expansion of the company. You'll be working closely with the president, Robert Clark. You'll be the top management in the company, and you would have a lot of sway in big problems, especially things with the union going on. Um, it's not looking for an individual with 15 or more years of experience anymore. It's 5 years to give some more opportunity to some maybe younger, bright-minded people that could have new ideas that more seniority people don't have. Um, it's a more honest and more, I would say, detailed approach to the job description. I'm sure you get more once you're in there for an interview, but at a first glance, it seems like it's a company that needs someone, and you would have actually a lot of sway and power at the company. And I would honestly, if I worked in HR, I would want to apply for this job. So To analyze the case, we're going to go over some key questions that should be asked when thinking about what's going on. So, who's the decision maker? So, in this situation, Robert Clark is the decision maker because he was left with the role to find someone for HR, and then when finding someone, Joy Fleming, in this case, you need to hire another individual for HR. What appears to be the main issue? So, the main issue right now is that you're getting a lot of pressure from the workers' union and the HRC to go to autonomy and to rectify the problems within your company. And the absence of executive managers and decision makers is another big problem because you have all these external factors going on, but no one is available in the company to rectify them. So that right there is the main problem of the case. What is the significance? So, although the company is going through a law right now, it doesn't mean that the internal issues are any less important. There needs to be the right people in the right roles in order for the company to succeed. This exposes that the company does not seem to be as ethical as they should be and do not have the right practices in place when hiring. So, what that means is that when there's females in the company already looking to apply for supervisor roles, why are they being denied continuously? They're not even giving a chance to be interviewed. So in that case, I think it's a little unethical. Why aren't you giving people in the company a chance? And for the job description, you're not really having the best way to attract people. So you're denying people in your own company and you're not doing the best thing at attracting people. So how are you supposed to get these roles filled out if you're not taking the right course of action to get them filled out? This case takes place in Canada at Maple Leaf Shoes Limited. So when discussing the analysis of the case, we ask the question, why has this issue arisen? So the main issues we're dealing with here are that the external factors of autonomy wanting to come in to the workplace and lose a lot of employees at a poor time for Canada, and that major retailers are closing down because their prices are too high and the competition is able to keep up with low prices and high quality shoes. So those are the main issues that are pressuring the company from the outside. But from the inside, there are women realizing that they're in very low paid roles. There's not great job specifications for jobs they're applying to, and they're being denied the chance at promotion. So right now, the HRC is coming in saying, hey, you need to figure out your problems with your employees. And the head of the companies are saying, hey, we have some big issues to deal with here in regard to our competition and losing employees. So where I think this really does stem from is because of the recruitment strategy. They don't have the right people in the right roles, which inevitably leads to the wrong people in the wrong roles. For example, Robert Clark in the HR role. If they had the right people in the right place, these problems would have people to handle them as they're deemed necessary with both the external and internal issues. Also, the company's lack of attention to job analysis and design, they came up with an undesirable job description that even the HRC are realizing that, hey, your specifications aren't good enough for people applying for these roles. So not only do they not have the right people in the right roles, but they're not working hard enough to find people for these roles. They're not giving people the opportunity to see, hey, this is what we need. These are the type of people we need. Come apply, come show us your insight, and we'll give you a chance. So the real issues arise from that, from the recruitment and having the wrong people in the wrong roles. So how would I have solved the problem? So I would have solved the problem by simply putting the right people in the right place. In regard for the push from the Union for Autonomy, I would have thought that a tough HR manager, just like Robert Clark said, would need to be there to stand up for these changes and and try to protect the employees from losing their jobs. In regard to having the HRC require that there was more equal opportunity for women and minorities to have higher paid roles, I would have an employee in the HR department have full control over the next 12 months to come up with a solution to this problem. So a solution could entail having a better job analysis, being open to accepting more people, even if it's more interviews, it's not a problem. Have more people in the HR department to be there for interviews, right? Recruit the right people and give the right people the opportunity to apply. If you have a poor job description, how are the right people going to apply? Um, in addition, yes, we suggest that Robert gives a second thought for the recruitment strategy. Also, review the advertisement. Not only does there need to be a letter showing what kind of talents they need, but they also need to attract the talents who would want to work for the company. They need to make the company desirable. If a company isn't desirable for you, why would you apply to it? So the biggest thing there is that they need to make a better job analysis, a better job description, and be more open to accepting any people, or sorry, any people of significance for interviews. If it's a woman, that should be nowhere near a reason to deny anyone the chance at a job. So some key mistakes that were made with the company is that gender equality issues for promotions, salaries, why are women not being accepted, and why is there a high level of women in low paid roles in the company? That doesn't make too much sense. Realistically, it should be 50-50. Manufacturing costs are too high, which equals higher shoe prices. So now that you're realizing your competition overseas has very low manufacturing costs, and that's why they can stay competitive, you need to figure out a way. Hey, how can we lower our costs so we can keep up with the competitive pricing? Um, for job posting, that's a total mistake. Their job postings are not attracting the right people, like we talked about. They need to upgrade that and try attracting the right people and the people that they want to help the company. Keys to success, they need to try saving jobs by not going autonomous. So they want to keep their employees there. Happy employees will lead to a better workplace. As said earlier, GM and Chrysler, they went the autonomous route and right now they're declining. So you can't just blatantly say you get this autonomy production, it'll be always better. Um, you want to fight unions on bad practices. So if they're pushing for something that you don't want, you need someone in a role to stand up and say, hey, this isn't right. We want our employees here. We don't need to go this route. And yes, trying to find a way to be more competitive. You need to have that competitive advantage or you won't succeed in business. They're losing stores because they're not pushing hard enough to get the right things done. And to get the right things done, you need the right people. So if you're not recruiting the right people, the right things will never get done. So moving forward, we'll see the proposed job application for an HR management position. To start, it has your typical things: your name, city, zip code, phone number, employment history, educational background. But then we dive into a few more HR related questions. So a few examples: what do you least enjoy about working in the HR department? How would you describe the effectiveness of your employees under your supervision? If someone told you that you had made an error, describe how you would react and what you would say in your defense. Questions like this, I think, are very important in a job application because you need to make sure you're spending time on finding the right person for the job. It's a lot easier to find the right person for the job and get them going to work than finding the wrong person, figure out that they're making mistakes, and then have to get rid of them and go through the cycle again. So I believe that you need to take your time. You need to make sure you have a good job description and a good job application to make sure you're finding the people that you want for your company. If someone can come in and understand what they need to do and what they need to apply to get that job done, it'll make things go a lot better for them and for the company. So most definitely, Maple Leaf Shoes need to upgrade their job description and their application. Other than that, thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed this presentation, and we'll see you in the later weeks. Thank you.